Welcome to Medical Intuition Illuminated, the podcast bringing light to the wisdom of the body. I'm your host, Laura Wise, a medical intuitive and psychic medium dedicated to helping you understand the subtle and layered ways your body communicates. Here, we explore the meeting point of intuition, physiology, and energy, approaching the body not as a puzzle to fix, but as a wise, expressive system that's always speaking. This podcast is for informational and educational purposes only. It is not medical advice, and it does not replace professional healthcare, diagnosis, or treatment. Always consult a qualified healthcare provider for any medical concerns. This episode contains a real medical intuition session. All participants are anonymous, and any identifying details have been edited out to protect privacy. Thank you so much for joining me today, and we'll go ahead and get started on your reading. But before we do that, I just want to add my disclaimer in that I am not a licensed medical practitioner. And so we'll be talking about the body and looking at the different areas and the energy of the different areas, but I won't be diagnosing. I'm not going to be covering any named conditions unless it's something that you bring up and you want to talk about the energy of. I'm not going to say I can cure anything, but we will be looking through the different areas. And as we do that, I might also be offering recommendations around things like foods or supplements or other practitioners or practices that you could look into. And I do that all with the caveat that you check in with your own personal care team before you make any changes to your routine. Okay.
Sounds good.
Great. So before we get started, do I have your permission to read you and your body and energy today?
Yes, you do.
Okay, beautiful. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and start reaching out my energy to you. So I'm going to send it out. And I usually start from the top of the head. And oftentimes the first information that comes in has to do with kind of how your mind works and how you receive intuitive information. I do see immediately, keep showing me like puzzles, which is interesting. So I don't know if you like to like do puzzles or you like the idea of like not necessarily like literal puzzles, but like figuring things out is a lot of how your mind works. And like it's not even sometimes about the like what the end result is. It's the process of like putting the pieces together. Does this make sense to you?
Absolutely.
Okay, beautiful.
I'm a big fan of a mystery or a project or learning new things.
Okay, great. And there's the way they're showing it to me is like you're really good at holding different pieces of information at one time, even if they're contradictory to each other. Like you can like be like, okay, well let's see what these all look like when I like lay them out together. So you're able to kind of like hold things like that without kind of jumping to conclusions, which make you really good at that kind of sussing things out. They also show me that you've really cultivated your ability to like not be on all the time energetically and spiritually, that you have good boundaries around when you're kind of outside of, you're kind of like feeling into things and when you're not. So I want to congratulate
Thanks
you
for
on that.
noticing.
Yeah. It takes a lot of work. Yeah, I totally understand.
It does.
Yeah. They are pointing me to a little bit of congestion that you're having through your headspace right now. So I don't know if you're having a head
Yes.
cold or something along those lines, but definitely seeing some like pressure there.
Yes.
Some inflamed tissues, eustachian tubes. I don't know if you're even having like your ears are a little clogged or something as well. Yeah.
Nailed it.
Okay. So I do see that. And I do see a little inflammation in the throat. So it feels like you've been on the verge of getting sick for a little while, and it finally might be kind of catching up with you at this time. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yes.
So I hope you get a chance to rest and nourish coming up here. Because you are a go, go, go person. They're showing me that you will like go, 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 go. And then your body's like, hey, I exist. Can you take care of me? And it kind of forces you into that rest state. So, because you can really you can do a lot, and sometimes you forget that you can't do everything. So that gentle reminder for
And
that.
it has been busier than usual the last few days for me. And I am exhausted today.
So you're ready for go into the kind of more calming period, hopefully.
Oh, yes.
Um, I do see a little, yeah, I see swelling in the lymphatic. I see a little swelling or a little tightness in the jaw. So I do see some jaw clenching that has happened. This is something that they're telling me that you've been working on regularly. But it does, like, when you get really stressed out and you have to kind of grit your teeth and get through it, this comes up again as like a, yeah, they're showing me like biting that thing of biting down on leather. Like I can do anything if I just like push through. But they're really reminding you that you're not in the place of your life where you have to do that like you once did. So the pattern and the habit is still there, but they really want to let you know from an energetic level that you don't, it's not it doesn't have to be survival anymore. Yeah. So they are saying we're gonna get to some of those things later on. So let me move down into your. Do you do baths ever?
I don't have a tub. I want
Oh,
to.
okay. Yeah, because they're just showing like soaking as a potential thing really could be really good for you. Even like soaking your feet, just soaking, like putting a little tub out and just soaking your feet to give you um, that feeling of nourishment could be really helpful. Um, okay, so we're gonna go. They're pulling me into your heart space, and we're gonna look at that. Oh, they're also showing lungs, and they're showing there's a connection there. Lungs govern the emotion of grief, and so they are showing a grief pattern within there. They're showing me there is some older grief, and that usually sits at the bottom. That's kind of this more of like almost a constant background, and then they're showing me grief that's more recent. That's kind of pinging that older grief. Does this make sense to you?
It does.
Okay. And so let me look into the heart space because they're saying there's connected. They're saying some of these griefs you're just starting to talk about. Some of them you're not ready to talk about, right? And so they're talking about the way that it moves, it moves from your lungs into your heart space and then up out of your throat and out of your throat chakra. And that is a really healing process for you. You being able to talk things out is really, really good for you. It's like the way that it's like sometimes you don't even know what it is you're feeling until you get those words out and you can look at them with somebody else even, right?
Yeah.
That becomes real for you. And you understand those patterns a little bit better. Um, So they're saying there will be, yeah, they're really pointing to spring as being a really good time to kind of talk through these, but there's almost something about this time of wintering that you need to kind of like sit with that grief in its own way, right? And be with it, and be with it quietly and privately. Um, are these things, and they're not pointing to us needing to work on that grief at all. That's something that you do on your own time. They're talking about that you can be kind of a slow processor around your emotions, right? You need time to really like relating it to the what we were talking about, mysteries and puzzles, right? You want to kind of like bring it up, you want to look at it from every angle, you want to think about it and hold it close to you, and when you're ready you know exactly how to release those things. So that's not something that we need to work on there. Does that make
That
sense to
makes
you?
perfect sense.
Okay, beautiful. Let me look into your heart space a little more because I do see. Oh, that's so interesting. They're showing me your heart as almost like a crystal. So let me see what that is a metaphor for here. So they're showing me like I learned recently about labradorite and how it like absorbs energy into it, and then the energy kind of bounces around the different elements in it. And they're really relating that to you as well. And that people kind of bring energy into you and then it can kind of ping throughout your heart and all along those crystalline structures, and you are able to alchemize it and then send it back to them in a different way. Does this make sense to you?
And it is directly aligned with what I know my purpose is.
Oh, that's beautiful. Okay, I'm getting chills right now. So that's a good sign. And that it's like your magical superpower is this ability. It's very rare. It's something that you have cultivated, but it's also part of just your natural essence of like how you alchemize information. Um And they're particularly showing me like people almost coming to you with like sadness or problems, and then the way that you alchemize that into, they see it as a gift, right? When it comes back to them, they're like, oh, okay, this is not a bad thing. This is actually a beautiful thing. Um, they want to remind you to be able to do this for yourself too, because you're really good at doing it for other people. But there are times when you forget that you can do it for yourself, or you don't give yourself the gift of it.
Oh, busted. Oh, I'm so
Um, okay, so they're saying that sometimes, yeah, you forget that you can alchemize your own experiences into that in that same way, right? You just um you forget that you deserve that as well. So
oh,
another reminder there with that. So let me take a look at, they are pointing to some tightness through the rib cage right now, and they're particularly
yes.
talking about the left side, almost like the back, the middle, but it's just like there's a lot of pressure, especially on the sides of the ribs. Does this make sense to you?
Yeah, I have something. I need to go see the chiropractor. There's
Okay.
definitely something
There's
out
something
right
a
now.
little off. Yeah, they're showing me like your spine, and there's, where is, which one is it? There's a couple of them that are just a little, and this is common for you. They feel like they slip out of
Hmm.
alignment really easily. Um
Kind of
and yeah,
right
and
about shoulder blade, below shoulder blade.
I'm
Yeah.
seeing, yeah, one there. And then there's one like a little bit lower too, like in the
Hmm.
back, that also kind of slips to the side. Um and yeah, they're also showing me just really just doing like even just these expanding kind of stretches for you a lot, to remember to do those, and laying on the floor and like starfishing, because it's like we spend so much of our time like curled in and like looking at a computer or
Oh,
whatever,
yeah.
looking at her phone, and just to like lay on the, and even when you like, if you have a, like lay in bed with somebody, right, there's like you can't really like starfish.
Yeah, no. Or pets.
So like giving you a chance to lay in the middle of the bed and just like completely spread out your arms and stuff. And they're also showing a little bit of like clavicle opening as well. um Let me see. Yeah, it's just really tightness, and this is a common pattern with the tightness in the ribs and the chest and it pulling.
It is. It's
Yeah,
yes.
it's, yeah, it's
It's
on here.
recurring post injury.
Oh, okay, I got it. um Yeah, and they're showing like right behind the heart space in the back shoulder
Yes.
in particular feels really tight there. And they're actually showing me that that is related to a cord as well, that there's a cord from your heart space to somebody else. So that is something that we will look at in the healing portion on working at releasing and
Okay.
who that's connected to. So it's like even though the injury was related to something different, it's like that location, it kind of like there's a ball of energy that's still there that's connected to that cord. Um, that is kind of the kind of keeping the injury kind of active in a way.
Oh,
So yeah, we'll fall into that. And personally for me, I never cut cords. We remove them. So I'll walk you through the process of doing that the way that I've learned to do it. Um okay, so we'll look at that more deeply when you get to the healing portion. Let me look else. I feel like your hands get really cold. They're really pointing to me your hands get like especially
I
cold.
was just noticing how cold my hands were.
I'm feeling it too. That it's like almost like the rest of your body stays pretty warm through usually, but like your hands get really, really cold. Um, so let me
Yes.
take like, and there's a little bit of lymph, like the lymph could use a little bit more movement in it. The lymph is like a pump for our body, and it pumps all of our juiciness and hormones and everything throughout our body, and it can't pump itself. So it's like part of that is movement. Another thing that would be really great for is also kind of just like either doing dry brushing or some kind of like lymphatic movement in your body. You can oilinate or not. You can use a salt scrub. Always kind of moving that towards the heart, so that the heart can pump it out. But I could see that, especially even if you can't get into like a bath, you could do like before a shower, right? You could really scrub everything down and spend a few minutes kind of moving that through. Because I could see that warming it up. But yeah, generally your inside, like you tend to get warm easily, except for your hands, which is really interesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, let's look at digestion here. They actually want to pull me into liver first. So we're going to look at the liver space. Liver governs the emotion of anger. And they want to talk about how you're really, really good at managing other people's anger, really good at it. You're like an anger whisperer, is the way that they're putting it almost, in that you give people a lot of space to have their experience. You don't try to change what it is that they're feeling. You let them kind of do what it is and you don't let it get on you. But when we talk about your own anger, that is a little bit more of a complicated relationship for you. And
Yes.
there's still parts of yourself that don't want to allow yourself the honor of being as angry as you should at people about things, because you're very generous. You're very generous with giving people the benefit of the doubt, sometimes to the point where it's detrimental for yourself. Does this make sense to you?
Absolutely.
And some of this is a pattern from childhood, right? You were taught to be a negotiator and a natural kind of soother of
Yes.
feelings. Um, but you have like leveled it up in adulthood in a whole other way.
Yes.
Okay. So we also want to look at kidneys. Yeah, I see a little tired energy in the kidneys. They're a little bit puffy, and that makes sense because you're kind of, as we talked about, a little depleted right now. Your adrenals have been running on for a while, and so now they're finally like, and
Yes.
you are a little dry right now as well, and they're pointing to that being kind of, there's like kind of some stuck mucus, and that kind of creates a little bit more dryness and irritation as well, from just being under the weather. So they're recommending lemon water in particular.
Okay.
Lemon is really great at breaking up mucus inflammation, and since you run warm, lemon can go cold, but since you run warm, that shouldn't be a problem for you. That'll actually be good. And another great thing for hydration is it's not just about drinking enough water, it's about making sure that our bodies can absorb and hold onto the water. And one of the most simplest ways to do that is add a natural sea salt into your water. So not a table salt, but something that's like a gray salt or Himalayan salt or whatever, and just a little bit until it kind of tastes just a little salty, and that can really and it has all these kind of like micro minerals in it that help with all these different cell functions, and so it can really help us kind of keep a hold of that, like an electrolyte. Um, and they're saying you really love tea drinking, so up the tea drinking because that gets you to hydrate. Are
Ah,
you a tea person?
I'm so a tea person. I'm like just a little bit of coffee in the morning, but otherwise, like I
Tea on
love
tap.
tea. What
Yeah.
about like a hibiscus tea?
Hibiscus feels great. It can be a little bit drying, so I feel like but it has a lot of vitamin C.
Hmm.
So it's kind of a balance. I would almost like mix it with something if you are open to that flavor. Um right now I would recommend a peppermint over, if you do mint, a peppermint over like a spearmint, just because spearmint goes
Okay.
cold. Spearmint's like
Yeah.
very, very, very cold. Peppermint's the only warming mint.
I have a
Um
bunch of peppermint
yeah.
tea.
I'm also feeling really like chamomile for you. Do you do chamomile?
I love
Okay.
chamomile.
This feels like one of your power flowers, if I would put it that way.
That totally makes sense. No, that absolutely makes sense.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, it's really like, it's like very aligned with it, like it loves you. And I don't know if you've ever grown it. It's like very easy to grow in this area.
I will
Um,
now.
yeah, and it's German chamomile, and you can get starts usually like pretty or in the springtime around here, and it's so fun. I mean, I never grew like a ton of it, but it's so fun to just like pick the little flowers off. And I just feel like it being around you would be very happy. Yeah, it's like very aligned with your energy. That's really sweet. Um, okay. So let's look at digestion. So digestion it's like kind of all over the place is what it's showing me. Like some days it's going and it's fine, you can eat whatever you want, and then other days it's like you almost don't even get hungry. It doesn't know what it wants. It's very sensitive. It's tender. They are saying part of this is hormone fluctuations, is that your
Yeah.
hormones have been kind of all over the place recently. And so part of that is like it's really driving your appetite a lot and then your sensitivities to different foods.
Yeah.
And they're showing me that you have been really like trying to work on that and playing with different things like does my body like this no today it and it's really hard to tell because like one day it's fine and the other day it's not fine.
Yeah.
um and so you've been really trying to puzzle this out for a lot. They're also showing me that sometimes your digestion can be really slow. And this goes
Mhm.
along with like kind of you're a slow processor as well. Like you take your time thinking about things, right? And oftentimes that is mirrored in the way that our digestive system happens. Um, and so they're just saying sometimes things will kind of just sit there for a little bit long and it causes gas, and then the gas causes bloating, and that causes an appetite decretion. Um, let's see what we want to say here about the stomach. Yeah, because some days it's cold, some days it's warm, some days it's like going fine, some days it's not. You just said you do. Do you have coffee first thing in the morning when you have it?
Yeah.
Okay. So I do recommend sometimes having like a little bit of something first to pad the stomach, because especially if your stomach's so sensitive to what it is, it can really that immediate acid into it can cause it to not know kind of what to do. So I'd recommend if you can have like a little bit of a sweet flavor, even something like a little fruit or a little dried fruit or something
A
like
banana,
that.
maybe.
Some what? Sorry?
A banana, maybe.
Yeah, that would be
Okay.
great. Just to give it a little something so that it's not just hitting it. And on the days that your stomach is doing like great and your digestive fire is great, like that's fine. But some days it just hits it and it almost like shuts down the whole system because there's so much intensity from the acidity that it like the digestive system doesn't know what to do with it. So that would help. I also recommend adding in some fiber. I would say beans, but you're also really sensitive to some beans, but not all beans.
I I do
So
have a rough time with beans. Yeah.
yeah. So if you are going to do a bean, something like a lentil or like a white bean, but like black beans are too much, garbanzo
Yep.
beans are too much for you,
Yep.
really irritating. But like a gentle white bean, and it would have to be like boiled down in the soup or something, right? Like it needs to be really, really broken down. And I would recommend starting with like dried beans, because when
Okay.
you soak them and dry them, they process differently in your body than a canned bean. They're gonna like they're gonna have less gas for you,
Okay.
which feels like that also that causes a lot of the problems as well. um I'm not seeing sometimes with like things sit in the digestive system for a long time. I see malabsorption, but I'm not seeing that problem for you. It's more just kind of around the gas. You get a good amount of nutrition from your food. I'm also seeing other kinds of fiber, like chia seeds would be good to add those. You can put those in your water too, and they're another great hydration source.
Oh,
Um, Oats feel really good for you. Oats are really
okay.
easy to digest. I'm not seeing any irritation for you. And also, have you ever done stewed prunes before?
No.
So you take prunes and you like put them in some water and like warming spices like cinnamon and ginger and like things like that. They
Okay.
sound gross, but they are delicious.
Okay.
And you can like put them on top of your oatmeal and they just are like really they can just it's a really nice way to get like fiber and that kind of thing, because I'm not seeing or yeah, stone fruits are fine for you. um I do see tomatoes as being irritating though for your system.
I routinely tell people that tomatoes are trying to kill me.
Okay. I'm sorry, it's not funny, but
No, it's funny.
um and especially raw tomatoes. Yeah, they're a
Yeah,
little bit easier on you when you get them in a sauce or when they're cooked down, but still even that is like can be
it's
irritating.
horrible.
And I would say eggplant are hard, it's hard for you too. Yeah.
It's horrible.
Yeah.
I can't eat
Really
it.
flares you up. Yeah.
Um,
Um, yeah, so tomatoes. I feel like potatoes are all right generally. I feel like a russet can be a little bit hard. Like potatoes that are red potatoes are easy. They act more like um a vegetable than like a starch. So those tend to do a little bit better for you. Sweet potatoes are great though. Sweet
yeah.
potatoes are really good for you. Yeah, it's so interesting. I think you have almost like both a cold and hot digestive system. So I wouldn't be surprised if in Ayurveda there's different constitution types, and you
Hmm.
either usually are either like cold or hot or kind of one of those, but there are some people that are tridoshic where they're like all three of the doshas at the same time, and I wouldn't be surprised if you're tridoshic. Um, and they're often called world changers, which I love. So
Ooh.
you just have a complex system that feels like it's very shiftable from day to day, depending on what's going on, right? We talked about your hands being cold, but your body being warm. It's like kind of all your many things. Yeah.
Yes.
Um, okay. So they're pulling me into yeah, I'm sensing some stuff in the hips as well, some pain in the sciatic. It's both sides, but I'm especially feeling on the left side, deep, and it goes way deep into that joint. Like, ouch, I'm very sorry. And that feels like it's a chronic kind of flare up thing for you. Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yes, absolutely.
Hmm. Um, there's a lot of tightness in those hips. Those hips just, and part of this is kind of a patterning from childhood of just like a holding. There's a lot of holding that you had to do for other people and like holding for yourself, and there's a lot of like waiting for the other shoe to drop kind of feeling of just
Hmm.
being like fight or flight, ready to go, like not sure. And some of that is still translated, like stays in there, and I wouldn't be surprised if it's like the more stressed out you get, the more like tense you get, those flare up um a lot more. um and they're almost, they keep putting like almost, it looks like your left or your hips are slightly tilted, like
They might be.
yeah, they're
It
showing
kind
like
of feels that way sometimes.
the right feels a little higher than the left side, and that kind of contributes to that stuff that's happening in the spine with the things slipping out. um and they are showing me that some of your shoes, you could replace some of those, because I almost feeling, do they wear little like flip-flops or slidey kind of things? Like,
Yeah, I'm barefoot if I'm home a lot. And so if I'm home, I'm barefoot. And then I'll wear like flip-flops in the yard and that kind of thing. When I go for walks or like if I have to go to the store or something, I'll put on like my Hokas,
mm-hmm.
my proper shoes. But no,
Yeah.
I spent my life in flip-flops.
Okay. Yeah. So that is definitely contributing a little bit to that imbalance thing that we're seeing. I would say even like it feels like Hoka's almost might be too much shoe for you in a lot of ways. Like it
Yeah,
feels like you'd
it
like to
is.
be like really close to the earth.
Yes.
So I would actually look into, if you can, like they're called zero drop shoes, where
Okay.
they're basically, they don't have a lift in the heel. Because it feels like you being as close to the ground as possible is really good, going to help with your balance. And something that's strapped onto your foot if you can. Because I think, yeah, and they're showing me your knees get really inflamed too. And that's
Oh
all
yeah.
part of the same thing. If it's like, um, yeah, it's like you're having to do all these micro movements to get your balance because of the shoes you're wearing. And so it's like, yeah, we want to get you something that's as close to like being actually barefoot as possible, because you'll be more likely to wear them, is what they're saying too.
Okay. That
Okay.
tracks.
Okay. Let's just take another look at a couple things and then I'll give you some time to ask questions. So funny, your feet don't run as cold as your hands. It's really your hands.
Yeah.
Um, they are towing into some old injuries as well in the hands, where like, I don't know if you did a lot of like crafting or knitting or something with like fiddly with your hands over time.
I was a cashier for Costco
Oh,
back in
okay.
the days
Yeah.
when we 10 keyed everything.
Yeah.
Then I worked
Yeah.
in the cash office and we did a lot of 10 keys. So there's some like,
Repetitive
yeah,
stress injury in there. Yeah. Um, they're pointing particularly to like an arnica cream to kind of get some
yeah.
circulation into those, because they do get really achy when it's cold. Um, And they're also pointing to, like, again, we talked about the oilination and kind of like lymphatic massage. They're actually saying that's going to help, because it's going to help move some of the
Okay.
stuff that's built up in them out of those hands, to get them to warm up a little bit. Um, do your feet like points flay out a little bit? Am I seeing that correctly? Where they kind of like,
They
instead of
kind
being
of
straight?
they have a different shape than like I have like a kind of like a little mound on the
Mm,
outer part of my foot and sometimes they
mhm.
rotate like out a little
Out.
bit.
Okay.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
not
I can see
not
it.
this way, but
Yeah, I'm seeing them go like almost like a ballet. You know how ballet they turn out. So I'm
no,
seeing them. Okay, so maybe it's that I'm seeing
the
that.
way I'm sitting right now.
um, yeah, that could be what I'm seeing of it. They're also pointing that's with the shoes a little bit as well.
Okay.
So, yeah, and that's contributing to the hip pain and the knee pain. Um, and your feet would like a little appreciation. I hear this sometimes, and that like they just want to be loved on, right? We sometimes forget that they exist, right? Until they
Right.
like hurt or bother us. And so again, we talked about a foot bath as an option. I think that would be really great to do a little Epsom salt, like warm soak, maybe put some rose petals in there and just be like, thank you for carrying me. Thank you for you doing a good job, right?
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah. Because they keep you really grounded. You're very grounded. Oh my goodness, that's great. You go like way down. Did you do a lot of grounding practices
Yes.
on a regular basis? Yeah, I see that. You're like there's like a tree trunk cord that goes to the earth like pretty much constantly. So
Yeah,
good
because if
on
I
you.
don't, I'm way
You're
up in the ether,
mhm.
solving problems and doing puzzles.
Got it. Okay. All right. I'm going to pause there so that we have enough time for the chord portion that we were going to do. But do you have anything that we didn't cover that you want more detail on or want me to look at?
When you were up in my head,
Yeah.
did you pick up any residual brain injury, concussion stuff?
Let's take
Because I
another
had a
look
really
here.
major brain injury 9 years ago, and it
Oh.
has altered the course of my life and
Mhm.
how I approach things in general.
Okay.
And it's one of those things that like post-concussive syndrome is with me at all times, every single
Mm.
day.
Mhm.
And so I was just wondering, like, I love that you picked up first that you're like, oh, you're a puzzle solver and you're a,
Mhm.
someone who can hold a lot of information because that's not, it's hard to not identify with the things
Mhm.
that traumatized and changed us so
Mhm.
deeply. And so
Mhm.
for you to be like, oh no, look at you, you're so smart, basically, which is the way
Mhm.
ego took it.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if you were getting anything around that or the headaches that come from that.
Okay. Yeah, let's take a look there. Um I'm seeing something like at the back of that. Was there any like
Massive impact
at
to
the
the back.
back of the head?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And so a lot of the damage was specifically around there, and they're
Yep.
saying kind of around those kind of like baser body parts of the brain, right?
Yeah.
And they are talking about a little bit of like memory, like short-term memory stuff that
Awful.
happens. Yeah. And it's like the feeling of like walking in the room, forgot something, but like times a million,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
All
That's
the
exactly it.
time. Um, and they're saying, yeah, it's almost like a vice grip kind of headache where it just like comes to both sides and
Mhm.
just presses on the temples.
Yeah.
Um, so let
They
me
have
see.
suggestions.
Yeah. And some of that, so the way they're putting it, some of it is that there's a residual like holding pattern from your body of like because this came out of nowhere and there wasn't anything you could do to like brace against it, but your body
Oh,
still thinks like if I had only like done X, Y, and Z in some level, then it would have been able to like hold it. Right. And so some of this is just almost that residual pattern of like bracing for a blow that your
yeah.
body does that causes these headaches. So again, in times of stress, it probably gets more intense. And that also is some of the jaw pattern that we were looking at as well. Um, they're showing me that you have done a lot of things to work on your memory, like just exercises around
Yeah.
that those are really, and they want to say that you need to give yourself more credit than you're giving yourself around that because you have done a lot of work to improve it. Some people kind of like with this kind of thing, they just like give up and like live with it, but you're like, you refuse to accept that. And you
Yes.
are doing a lot of active work to kind of like actively strengthen those muscles. And some of the things that you're attributing to the injury aren't even connected. It's just normal like life stuff and normal like, hormonal changes and things like that.
Oh.
right? So
Okay. I'm open to
it's
that.
almost like you feel like you were getting better to a certain point, and then things like recently weren't as like your
Yeah.
memory is going. That's not connected to the injury. That's just
Okay.
like hormonal pattern things that
Yeah.
happen, right? If that makes sense. So give yourself credit for how far you've come with that. Um, and they're saying you've done a lot of chiropractic work that is like connected to that.
Yeah.
Um, and they're showing there's some nerve stuff, residual nerve stuff as well, where you've got these like shooting things that go down your brain,
Yeah.
your body, and they're showing
Little
particularly
lightning
down your
bolt.
back. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, they want to frame those as a good thing because it's like those are pathways that are reconnecting almost, right?
Oh, okay.
Sending they're kind of sending signal, right? And it's not pleasant. It doesn't feel good,
No.
right? But it's almost like so your body being like, hooray, like I work, right? If that makes sense.
It makes total sense.
Um,
Okay, my last question is, I have a Marina IUD
mhm,
and it
mhm,
is old and it needs to come out and I am
mhm.
terrified. What do I need to know about that?
Mhm. Okay, so let me take a look down there. Yeah, and I had one of those too, and I will say it was not a pleasant process. So I'm sorry for that when it comes out. You're so sensitive to pain in that area. You're just in
Yeah,
general, you're sensitive to pain. Like
I
pain
am.
is really, really hard on you. And it's like because you've been in so much pain for the last few years, it's like it's just extra, right? It's almost like the fear of pain adds that extra level of intensity.
Yes.
Um, you can ask for extra like support for pain for that. And you're
Okay.
going to have to push them for it. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not seeing any like damage done from it. If anything, like it's just not working like it used to,
Just old.
right? It's just old, right?
Yeah.
Um, you're very resilient in that area. It's just interesting that's coming across is just like it's very yeah, you're and I do think it's gonna because we were talking about your hormones being all over the place, and this is gonna help you kind of like get a little more regulated. Because the Minerva is the copper one, right?
Yeah.
But it still affects, right, things, yeah,
Yeah.
with that. So I think it'll make things feel a little more settled. But yeah, definitely see if you can push for any extra. Be like, I'm really sensitive to pain. I've had enough pain. Like, really do whatever you can for me um, with the removal. Um, but yeah, I don't see any potential issues with it.
Okay.
Yeah. Does that answer your question?
It does. Thank you.
Okay. Let me see if there's a because we didn't go too deep into reproductive. And your cycle's been kind of weird recently because of that as well. It feels like it's
Yeah,
been
well, there wasn't really a cycle for a really
okay.
long time, and I know menopause is knocking on the door. I'm
Mhm.
50,
Mm,
and that's fine. I welcome it. I'm ready for that transition,
mm,
but yeah, it's really been um, more active and more painful than it has for
mm,
the last few years because
mhm.
the IUD was suppressing it.
Yeah. And it's almost like your body knows it's ready, it needs to go. And so it's been like, how can I move things the way that I normally move things out of my body is through my cycle, right?
Yeah.
So it's like trying to get it out. Um, so that'll definitely help a lot. It's going to take a few months for it to kind of regulate, but I think you're going to feel a lot better
Okay.
with that out. And it's contributed to some of your sciatic pain as well. They're showing
Oh,
hmm
okay.
that it's just yeah tense through there. Um, see if there's anywhere else we want to cover for healing today. No, we'll just really focus on the cord, which is perfect because that's about what we have time for. Okay, wonderful. So we're going to move into the healing portion. Following the assessment, we end the session with a healing where we unpack the root causes of the stagnant energies that were surfaced during the walkthrough of the body and systems. The information quickly gets very personal and detailed, so in order to maintain the privacy and anonymity of my participants, I don't share these sections on the podcast. They're also not ideal for an audio format as they often include long stretches of silence while we work with visualizations, meditations, and other kinds of energy work. Thanks for listening to Medical Intuition Illuminated. If this episode resonated, be sure to subscribe and share it with someone who might benefit. Special thanks to Derek Ryan for music. Until next time, listen deeply to the wisdom of your body.
So